Story number 3. This one is painful and difficult, and I am not someone who has studied the country of Israel in enough degree to sit down and do this in an academic sense. So I'm going to do it on an emotional sense. And yeah, I mean, we do some fact checking, etc. But I really want to just address Christians in this. Candace Owens, years ago, when she came onto the scene, and I could go find the radio show, I guess, where I said this. I said that she's going to be one of the most important voices in conservative politics because God has gifted her with a great, great, great ability to speak. He's gifted her with a big intelligence and a huge and vibrant and almost irrepressible work ethic. She was recently, I guess not recently, in the past 6 months, separated ways with the Daily Wire, or was fired or sent packing. Not really clear what happened. She at one point offered to debate Ben Shapiro about Israel, and she said, but that's probably not going to happen, something to that effect. Ben Shapiro then produced a text exchange between them where Ben had in fact, according to his text, or at least the screenshot of his text, Ben had in fact said, sure, let's do it. Daily Wire Studios on this date. And so far that has not occurred. So Candace has done what a lot of people have done, including me. She has a bigger footprint, let's admit that. But Candace has gone independent. Just like Cheryl Atkinson went independent so many years ago. Catherine Herridge is now independent. Tucker Carlson. It's an era of people taking advantage of platforms like this to have direct relationships with people who followed their work like you and I have together. And thank you for that. So Candace Owens did a home, I guess it's home office or home, I don't want to say rant, but she really went after Israel in some ways that make me particularly uncomfortable, but it's just because of this. There's a special relationship between us, Christians, and the Jewish people. And you can go look all throughout the Bible to read all of the ways there is this special relationship between us. Now, God didn't go out and choose the Jewish people because they were really, really important people or particularly clever. He chose them because Abraham, at the time, Abram had faith. Faith that God existed. And Abram, while he screwed up big time, a bunch of times, he still had faith in God. When God told him to go to a place, he went and did it. So I'll get you in a second what Candace Owens said, or at least part of it. Then let's talk about this from a Christian perspective and also a perspective of kindness. And then let's just do some pattern recognition and a whataboutism or two. We'll get to that. Here's a whataboutism for you. Let me ask you this question. What are the dynamics in which you have very, very poor sleep? Here are my dynamics. If I have caffeine after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if it comes from something, say, like one of the banned things, I try not to drink a lot of, but I just find myself crawling back into it, getting sucked back into it. If I have a Bang soda or a Monster soda past 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm done. If I have a pre-workout drink past about noon, I'm done. It's very difficult for me to sleep. Pre-workout drink being something like Total War or NO Explode, something with nitrous in it. That stuff really screws me up if it's late in the day. If I stack that stuff. So if I'm going to have a super, let's say, metabolic, hardcore, and I mean hardcore workout, I might stack some of those things. A Bang soda, a bunch of caffeine, and then a pre-workout. I don't care if I take that stuff at 9 o'clock in the morning. I will be affected for sleep. Or this. If I eat late in the day, a ton of calories. Like, you know about my thing where I give myself this insane pizza stuff I do at the beautiful, beautiful best pizza in probably Western United States, Embers on the Lake near Hauser, Idaho. When I go there, I eat late in the day. Man, I love it, but sometimes it's very difficult for me to sleep. Unless I double down on magnesium breakthrough. Once in the early afternoon to help calm me, to help calm the anxiety that can be produced by those supplements, and then again before bed. Now, this is doubling down on a day where I know it's going to be difficult for me to sleep. For you, it might be stressful meetings. It might be airplanes. It might be back-to-back discussions. It might be emotional things before bed. In any case, magnesium breakthrough helps me sleep through the night. If I wake up, I go back to sleep. It also helps me but be regular. You know, that. Yeah, that's fun to talk about. I'm going to get you a free bottle while it lasts. It can't possibly last very long. I can't even believe I still get to do this. Free bottle of Magnesium Breakthrough. Go to magbreakthrough.com/Todd free. No questions asked. You get that, you get a better night's sleep, and you let us know how it works. magbreakthrough.com/Todd-free for a free bottle of Magnesium Breakthrough. This is Candace Owens talking about sort of a supposed cult of, I understand this, sort of a supposed cult of non-Jewish Jewish people, something like that.
Many moons ago, before they decided to establish Israel as a country, I know you've read like the short version in the classroom, and it was like, oh, the Holocaust happened, and then we realized that Israel needs a state. No, that's not how it went down. That's not how it went down at the F all, okay? Catholics and Christians were going missing on Passover, and then they would find bodies, okay, across Europe, and they were able to trace them back to Jews. Blood libel. They weren't Jews, okay? These were Frankists. And so just like Leo Frank killed Mary Fagin on Passover back in 1913 or 1914, I can't remember the exact date, he did it during Passover for a reason. This Frankist cult, which is masquerading behind Jews, still participates in this to this day, okay? Why would you want, as a small nation that is the size of New Jersey, okay, why would you want the pedophiles to flee there? Like, why would you want the pedophiles to be procreating? Unless the nation of Israel may have been established by some Frankists. And it's looking like Theodore Herzl's family was from the exact same area in Moravia and in Bohemia where the Frankist cult was founded.
Okay. Let's start with this. Let's start with the whataboutism, which are very useful. There's a pedophile problem that existed in the Catholic Church. Why? Well, let's go back through this. The Catholic Church became a place for same-sex attracted men to effectively hide, because there was a time where they had to hide. And same-sex attracted men may decide to act upon the lust, the sin impulse, and they're probably unlikely to do that with grown men because of the risk. So, having access to boys, being in tempting situations, if this is your particular sin issue, camping trips or what have you, God forbid, confessional time, you have access. You have the sin issue. And I think little by little, it became clear that, hey, you can go do that here. So elements in the church covered that up. I've spoken with people who've been victimized by this. We took the most extraordinary phone call one day on Rush Limbaugh's program, God rest him, Maha, from a woman whose daughters were abused by a Catholic priest, and in some horrible ways. And I'm talking about invoking holy water during that abuse, the use of religious items, crosses and such in the abuse. It was utterly satanic. We took a ton of calls that day and we verified all of them. Team EIB is very good at that. We identified all of them to make sure we were talking to people who actually went through this. There was this element. Pedophiles have the same process. They groom, they isolate, they act. They escalate very, very carefully, very mindfully, with this little bit of tickling and this little bit of hugging. And then, so that's the pedophile angle. The Catholic Church was set upon by that. Government schools have this problem. None of them were founded by cults. The other issue with this that I want to approach with Candace, because it seems so similar to something through which a friend of mine suffered. A dear friend of mine who is a very, very dear and committed Christian man went through a period of time where he worked for one of the most famous media executives in history, who is very much and very vocal about being Jewish. And around the time of Christmas, my friend got a phone call from this very famous media executive. And the media executive said to my friend, hey, the numbers look bad. I need heads. Heads. This is corporate nomenclature for this. that I need you to fire people to make up for some lower revenues a couple weeks before Christmas. So my friend was running a group of media companies for this guy, and he pulled together a meeting of his direct reports. He was a boss of bosses, and said, look, here's what the bosses want us to do, the big boss. They want us to cut heads. Can we find other ways to make this loss up, make up these revenues? They found it. On Christmas Day, he got a phone call from this guy on Christmas Day, one of the most holy in the Christian calendar. Phone rang and rang and rang. Finally, he picked up. He said, I don't see any heads. We found other ways to do this. We've made up for the loss. The first quarter looks good. We should be good. And then he got this. Well, then it's going to be even better when you get me my 14 heads. I want them today. Christmas Day. So my friend quit. Have someone else do it. Someone else did. For just a little while, for a very short while, my friend viewed this as something Jewish people do. Certainly there are Jewish people who do this. Certainly there are Jewish people who don't. There are non-Jewish people who do this. There are white people who do this. There are Christians who do this because business is business, church is church, which is a lie. That is a lie. We're to treat everybody the same. So I don't know if Candace is doing this as a result of what went on in the Daily Wire, or this is symptomatic of why there was this separation. She clearly believes this stuff, but I'd also say this. Candace, and you know this, the tribes of Israel existed long before this time period you're talking about. God recognized them as his chosen people. That's biblical, and you can't get away from it. There's a covenant. Right now, I think the country of Israel, the nation state, is absolutely lost. I think they bow down to the sexual left and pharma. I think they're probably deeply, deeply corrupt like almost every nation on earth. God did not make a covenant with the Knesset or with the president of Israel or the prime minister. He made it with the Jewish people. And that nation, Candace, that nation came from nations. It wasn't founded by pedophiles. In a way, you could say it was founded by God. I really hope that this isn't a trauma response with you, or maybe I hope it is. In any case, I'm going to pray that you will be able to see this through love. I'm not here to say you're anti-Semitic. That's not my charge to make. I am here to say you know better as to how the nation of Israel came into being.